I'm ready to talk about curriculum. I think everybody is ready to talk about curriculum. So let's cover writing. I think it was my February homeschool update video where I had talked about not being ready for IEW structure and style, that I'm really interested in trying it. In fact, I think I will, but definitely not 4th grade, probably not 5th grade. In fact, since I did that video, I'm pretty certain we won't bother to do structure and style until the 7th grade. And here's why. I have been reading more about narration and reading and literature, all sorts of things like that. And I'm more convinced that my idea of focusing on creative writing, of letting Morgan write freely, is the way to go, along with literature and narration. So I want to walk you through the writing that I've picked. I'm really excited about it because this is one thing that Morgan has said to me a couple of times. Mom, I'd really like to teach myself some subjects. I feel like creative writing is a low-stake, high-yield subject for Morgan to do that very thing. What I've done is picked several types of creative writing programs that I've sort of pieced together. From there, she can pick and choose what she wants because to me, they're all okay to me, but it makes her feel like she is autonomous and she is independent. So here's what I picked. Many of you know that I like the Well-Trained Mind, and when I went there to order the grammar, because we're still going to do IEW's Fix-It grammar and the Well-Trained Mind's grammar. We like both of them for different reasons. We're going to keep doing both of them. But when I was online getting Well-Trained grammar, I found the Creative Writer, and I got Level 1 5-Finger Exercises by Boris Fishman. What I was looking for and what I finally found in this book is not only how to write fiction, but how to write poetry. So it's in one book. And the nice thing is, this is written to your kid. The introduction is, so you want to write. And it just walks your kid through how to do that in very short order. It's not a lot of reading. It's really a lot of, now go practice, go try this, go try that. So the first part is fiction, and it covers, plot, character, dialogue, observation, setting, point of view, and then the last portion, write your own short story from scratch. It also gives you and the child sort of an idea of how long it might take them from week 1 to 4, from week 5 to 8, all the way up to 18 weeks to finish part 1. But you can take longer or you can do it faster. This is entirely self-paced. These are just suggestions. The second part is all about poetry. And again, it tells you how long you can take or might want to take to do each chapter. Intro to poetry, description, getting the words right, sound, which is important in poetry, and then write a poem from scratch, which Morgan has already been doing. And so that's why I was looking for maybe something with more meat on it, something more in depth about specifically poetry. And I didn't really find anything that I like. If you guys have found more, let me know. I'd be interested. For now, we're really happy that this one relatively inexpensive book is going to do what I need for both fiction and poetry. It doesn't come with a workbook. So I think I might treat this, or Morgan might choose to treat this as a spine to more writing through other programs. And I picked 2 others. She can either do one after the other. It doesn't matter which order, or she could just stick with one. It doesn't matter to me. The first one is Ali Oud's How to Write a Novel Before You Turn 13. I found this when I was just mindlessly flipping through on Amazon, and I wasn't sure about it. I thought, I wonder if this is going to be gimmicky, but it had a really nice preview of many pages, and that convinced me to purchase it. What it has is, it's the 13 steps, but every chapter is also goes with Write a Novel Before You Turn 13 workbook. So as Morgan reads the first chapter, she can go to the workbook chapter 1 and do what it is that they have walked her through doing. It does everything. Pull out your 1-page story, write for 1 minute, write for 3 minutes, fill out your act, flesh out your characters, step by step by step. Something that I hadn't seen is writing for timing. And that is actually what I had planned to do with Morgan next year. Because this year, if you've been watching what we have been doing in the morning, she does her 1 sentence a day. And this is it looks like a cute little Bible, but it's empty with 5 years So she can go, when she gets down to here, she can look up and go, on this day last year, this is what I did, and this is good for 5 years. We had started out on this in the 4th grade because we were new to homeschooling and I didn't know how her writing was going to go. So we started very simple with that, and I got her a 1 question a day journal for kids. In the beginning, she wrote very little. It wasn't in full sentences, sometimes just maybe a word, an idea, and she would end up talking to me about the rest of her thought, which I didn't realize at the time. She was doing essentially narration or talking from her own ideas and what was interesting to her that she couldn't quite yet put down easily on paper. Now she is filling the page and doesn't have enough room. So what she does is she finds me wherever I am. I'm usually sitting next to her, but if I'm doing something else or I went outside for a minute, she will find me and read me her 1 question a day answer and then continue on with what else she was going to write. That encouraged me to then get her, this coming year for 5th grade, her own journal. And this is a nice empty journal. I got this also on Amazon, and it wasn't too expensive. There's like 16 different colors. So I showed her this one. She had an option for many different styles and types, but she picked this brand and this color, and it came with little markers, which she likes. But it's empty. And so what I had planned on doing was set yourself a timer and do nothing but write for 1 minute. And then when you're ready to do 2 minutes, do nothing but write for 2 minutes. We do this in our writing club that we're a part of, and what a lot of writers do is set a timer for 15 minutes and then just quietly write. So in our club, we can do that. For 15 minutes, you sit there and you do nothing but write. It can be anything. It could be just whatever you're thinking at the time. It could be poetry. It could be a continuation of your novel or a character study. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever you want to write for 15 minutes. So I had already planned on doing that with Morgan through her journal, and then come to find out that it's an idea in the workbook. I got, not sure which one she would like. I have this one. Then I also picked up Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I got this because I listened to it first on Audible and I thought it was so great that then bought the book. Now I've listened to it, I've read the book, and what I do, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but then I go through it again if I'm interested in it, and then I annotate it. This helps me not write in library books, which I have a tendency to do. So if I really like the library book, what I'll do then is order it online and wait for it to come, and then I'll start annotating. I end up reading a lot of the books over and over again for that, but it sticks. It helps with my memory and it helps me learn. So with this, Jessica Brody added on a workbook. It's the Save the Cat Beat Sheet workbook. So as you go through each chapter, and this is written more for adults. The other one is for 13 or younger. But I could still read this to Morgan, or I could read each chapter, and 1 chapter a night, or the night before she does her workbook, and then she can fill out her workbook. Each chapter goes along with the book. So you read a chapter and then you start practicing or writing. It can really be although this is meant for adults, it's a bit cartoony looking, and so it really could be for any person, but it also wants you to flesh out timelines, favorite twists, genres, all that sort of thing, walks you through it. This book came because the author had read Save the Cat, and it's about screenwriting, and she thought, well, hang on, I think I can take what's in here and adapt it for writing a novel. Now, are we going to write a novel? That's not really the point of the creative writing for 5th grade. If Morgan writes a novel, that's great. In fact, there is a homeschooler who has written a novel, Reka Claassen, I think, from Canada. Her mom is the intentional homeschooler, so if you've seen her, you've seen Reka, her daughter. She has written her own book, and it's on Amazon for sale, called Lone Wolf. And I haven't bought it yet, but you can screen it, you can read like a sample, and it's adorable. So maybe Morgan will write a book, but the point is, I want her to feel good about writing. I want her to be comfortable with writing and have it not be such a mystery. It doesn't need to be so structured. It doesn't need to be graded. at all. And the nice thing about creative writing is, I mean, one person's A is another person's D and vice versa. So this is really about getting pen to paper, getting ideas out, talking about things, talking through things, and just having a love of writing, which Morgan is already developing and I want to continue to nurture. So since we're going to have a long break in July. We will not do homeschool at all. That's when Morgan will do summer camps and all her other things and swimming and all that stuff. When we come back, we will start with the Sabbath schedule. We'll start to do year round. But if we come back and Morgan is a little rusty, she already knows how to write a paragraph. But I found this online, how to write an awesome paragraph step by step. So if she's a little rusty and she wants to, it's a really simple workbook. Just kind of walks you through. Add specific facts, upgrade your details, practice transitioning. I think this is going to be a very short-lived book, but if we need it, it could be really helpful. I suspect it will probably just make it through the first week or two of school, and then I suspect she will want to really jump in to writing. My guess, if I was a betting lady, let me see, my guess is that she's going to want to do this one first. And I think she's going to want to do this one after. They're not so repetitive or identical that you can't do one after the other, especially if you have a new idea and maybe Morgan's written a nice short story from here. She wants to then write another short story, and instead of buying a new workbook here, she has this workbook. I have bought 2 of these because if she wants to do this one, I will do it with her. I'll walk through my own workbook and create my own story, because I think it's important to have study friends. I know I learned a lot more when I studied with my sister growing up. She'd sit right next to me and she would do geography and I would do physics, dreading doing physics, but just having her, seeing her enjoying her subject and sitting quietly made me want to do it and made me study more. It made my grades better. So I will be her study person in that regard, well, for anything that she wants, but I thought that would be kind of fun to do with her. Also, I think maybe starting typing more seriously. She can do typing.com. It's free, it's easy. Sometimes she does it on Fridays, but as her ideas develop, as she gets older and maybe she wants to write more, in my opinion, there was nothing more, and we didn't have computers or barely typewriters when I was growing up. Nobody had a typewriter, everybody hand wrote everything. It was a pain to handwrite a really long story, and worse, to edit it or rewrite it. It was awful. So if Morgan does kind of catch on to this type of thing and she wants to write more, I will encourage her to learn to type, because I think we just all, don't we all write longer emails than we write letters? So if she wants to do that, I'll encourage her to increase her typing speed. And also the writing clubs. We're members of 2. We do one fiction writing club and the other poetry writing club. Having that idea of there are other people out there who want to do the same thing, maybe writing poetry but not the same poetry, but writing poetry next to each other or sharing it or getting ideas from each other, is really a fun idea for her and for me. So I kind of enjoy doing that with her. So that's the plan. That's the plan for writing in the 5th grade. We are not going to do structure any more than that. We are definitely not going to write unless Morgan wants to write an essay, she can write an essay if she wants. I'm not going to push her to do that. I want to see her free thoughts come out. I want to see her own voice come out, because I think we stifle those voices a little too early when we push people to write a certain type of way. And between the creative writer and Save the Cat workbook, beat sheet, and How to Write a Novel Before You're 13 workbook, and just as importantly, I think her own private writing journal every morning will really, really start to show to Morgan how much she can do and she already in her narration, how much she says and what she comes out with is so funny and so interesting. All our kids are like that, right? And then we jam them onto an essay and they lose their style or they lose their enthusiasm. I don't want Morgan to write an essay about something else, about somebody else's writing. I want Morgan to write something that is in her mind. So that's where we are with writing. And if you're a homeschool mom still looking for curriculum, which I think you should be, because all of us on YouTube are creating these videos and already have our curricula because it's going on YouTube. But please don't feel like you have to buy anything. In fact, you can wait until June to order your stuff. That's plenty of time to have everything brought in and kind of do physical flip throughs and plan that way. But don't start buying stuff unless you're really, really ready to. You should never feel like you're in a hurry for next year's homeschool now. It's only March. You have tons of time. So I hope this helped you, and thank you so much for all of you watching and all of your comments. I just love them. It's so helpful. I hope you're having a wonderful homeschool week wherever you are, whoever you are. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.